obedient. I don't know, but I know that it's so.
You're muted. Yo, you're muted.
Unmute. Are you shitting me? I mean,
No,
I
you're
brought
good.
it. I got to go back. I got to go back and play a little. Why are we so goddamn obedient? I don't know, but I know that it's so. I was going to say, Matt, it's a dog eat dog world, but in China, it's a people eat dog world. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And before we get to China, though, Matt, let's thank you, Lee. Lee, always on top of it, sharing great shares. Love hurts, Matt. Let's be clear about that. Especially coming into the holiday season, it's a very difficult time of year for many people, and that's a goddamn shame. That's what I'm saying right now. It was a shame to see Aaron Rodgers get hurt. No, it wasn't. Thank you. If he could just stay hurt, that would be great. Coming from this Bear fan, Matt, I said on the way in, once the Bears are out of it, and lately it's been pretty early in the season, my viewership. It goes so far down. In fact, this weekend, the only football I watched was the Michigan game. Congratulations. A fantastic game, by the way. Just a fantastic game in a hostile environment. And JJ rose to the occasion, man. He played great. And, it's the way you should have a solid. I mean, how could you not be the second favorite team to win the whole thing now?
I mean, they are. They're number 2. By the polls.
But what are the betting odds? Are the betting odds, are they still the second best favorite?
Yeah, they are. They're plus 300. Georgia's like minus 165. And then it goes like from 300 to TCU's 12, I think. And then
what I thought was impressive.
USC is plus 1,300. Alabama is like plus 1,500. And then number 6, Ohio State is still plus 1,300, which is interesting. So,
well, I mean, I thought Michigan, with the injuries that they had, played fantastic. People stepped up. It was really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, the team. I mean, you have to, you really have to tip the hat to Harbaugh and what he's done this year. Again, Michigan rarely is. I don't think they have not been here 12-0 in a long, long time. Like even in '97, they had lost one game early in the season. I don't remember to who, and then they went out to win the rest. But yeah, I mean, it was just watching guys that I hadn't seen playing on the, freshmen. Well, Loveland had played, but he caught his first touchdown pass. I mean, tight end goes for 45. That was an unbelievable play. And just the big plays, like they just smash mouthed, and again, that running game wore them down, even though it was.
Yeah, it was nothing. 11 yards in the first half.
It didn't do anything in the first half, but they kept at it, and they they finally got.
The best for you, I know, was the total disrespect from Urban Meyer on the halftime show. Oh, just lovely to see. Anyway,
well, and then he had to leave because he was sick. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So something's going on there. The urban legend.
6 jab is in, and he's
the 6th jab is in, and then Al Roker's in the hospital because he's got blood clots, but nobody's talking about that.
No, you can't talk about that. We can't talk. Actually, we can now. Elon doesn't give a shit about that talk anymore.
Yeah. Right.
All right, Matt. The last thing though is you got to get past the Purdue Boilermakers. I mean,
the Boilermakers have been the scourge of my life. The first away game I went to was my first plane trip to West Lafayette, 1976, on my birthday. The game was on my birthday. Michigan was 9-0. They had one game before they had the Ohio State the next week at home, and so we had to fly down to West Lafayette. My first plane trip, and we lost 16-0.
Oh,
I mean, miserable,
brutal. All right, man. Let me share if I could share, because we're going to get to price discovery. That we talk prices here. we talk trading. It's actually a trading show. Anyway, I wanted to share. This is what I wanted to share. All over social media, they are really, from what I've read, Matt, not since Tiananmen Square, and we all know how that ended in 1989. The masses seem to be fed up with the authoritative regime. And this is not good for price discovery in a few things, and let's cover them. So let's jump right to Apple. For sure, a lot of this started, first of all, with the, I think this is it. Oh, hold on a second. I can't find it. Anyway, it was somebody a family that got locked in, people got locked in on zero. Here it is, zero COVID. Locked in, bunch of people died because they actually welded the doors shut.
Yeah.
So now they've pretty much had it. And this is my fear here. Same as Tiananmen Square. They're carrying automatic weapons now. They're going to put this down, and it's going to be bloody. How could it not be bloody at this point? The Foxconn factory, 200,000 people living in the factory complex, and the images out of there is equally raucous. And Matt's got he's got a unruly fan in the studio. Matt, let's go to Apple. Bring up Apple, and then we're going to talk hogs, because that's another line of price discovery directly affected by Chinese.
Yeah, Apple fell Friday $3. You can see it gap down. So this started happening even on the half day Friday that we had. It opened at 150, and then it 150 and a quarter, and we've not looked back. So 150 has been the line in the sand for me for some time. We've talked about that level. We were above it last week, and then now we're back below it. So again, you can kind of see this. We didn't even get up to that 157 level that we saw in late, mid to late October. We were up there at 157. So this doesn't look good. We're back into the mean of the profile. It looks like it at least wants to go down to that 141 level, see if it can find some more, buyers maybe down in that level. But it's not looking good right now. And again, there's got to be delivery aspects and problems coming from the situation in China, no matter how you look at it, even if it's a week or two of disruptions and delays, right? You just don't start like that big of an entity and not see some bad things happening. So
yeah, and like, what's the path forward? Like, right. if they're, we know they're going to be hardline, but you can't. You need these 200,000 people. You just don't replace them immediately and keep making iPhones,
right?
I can't even imagine that that's even part of the thought process,
right?
That can happen. So I don't know, Matt. The AI engine at work here for us. The AI engine is our graphic designer, Matt. I popped in, and this is from nightcafe.com, and you can either put pictures in there. I've shared that before, and the AI can reinterpret it, or you just put in words, Matt. And so I simply put in hog with apple in its mouth, and this is what the AI engine delivered. It's a fantastic graphic. But again, I'm going to jump to the hogs because they are getting absolutely schmeezed here, down almost 3% on some of them. This is June. Lean hogs. Now, again, I've said this over and over again. In general, the summer months in hogs have the highest price tag on them, as we're fully into barbecue season, baseball games, a lot more demand for hog product, along with the smallest kills on the curve. Opposite of cattle, and I'm going to toot my horn on the DSFEB cattle here in a second. But all I want to point out here is, if there's a giant demand destruction in China, we feel that huge here in our hog market, because we export so much hog and hog product to China. And you see the last time that we rolled over in September, this thing went from 106 down to 94, so $12. All I'm trying to say here is, if this thing is broken because of the demand side and our export side of it, please don't try to pick bottoms here, because this thing can really get unhinged, and you can be carried out trying to pick bottoms. So be careful here. And it's almost like you got to wait and to see what the actual demand destruction is, i.e. what happens to exports going forward here before you want to try to settle out on making a decision here. And let me just jump back to here, because this was Dees Feb cattle. Now, I've said this before, that the Dees contract is generally the highest price contract in the in the Dees complex, or in the cattle complex, excuse me. And this had been very, very strange that Feb had been so strong against Dees. But I mentioned it here around $4 negative, and it went almost to par, almost to even money. Got to about $1, back out to 3 1/4. And I don't see why going forward that this thing just doesn't go positive here. And you have, remember, on the expiration in cattle, you have the full month of December. So New Year's Eve, you can have Dees cattle on your books through the full month of December. Anyway, Matt, it's interesting how different things show up in price discovery, right? And so you see people riding at the Foxconn factory in China, and for sure there's price discovery to be had around many, many things, and that's what we try to expose here.
Yeah, and speaking of it, it reminds me a little bit of, if Apple's down, I always like to see what Goldman's doing. We had talked about this last week. Goldman's still been going crazy. This is a 89-minute chart. Again, the bottom here, 286, that was mid-October, like the rest of the market. And we're now 6 weeks into this rally. And again, I think, we're kind of getting towards the end of this rally again. I do believe. I think it's just a 2-month thing, and right around the mid-December, I think you're going to have to start positioning for the next move down that's coming in January. And Goldman kind of looks to me like it may have just completed kind of a rolling action double top here, made a higher high actually at the end of last week through the holiday, and is now down today about 1.5%, almost $6. So that's a big move. That's a big move off. And again, value doesn't even begin until like 358. So this thing's had $100 move. It's astounding, these 35-40% moves and big monster market caps. These aren't small cap companies. So the fact that this is up this big should be, I think it shows you how illiquid this market is, and continued danger showing up.
Hey, Bo, take it easy.
Speaking of danger.
All right, listen. While Matt disciplines his young pup, we're just like dogs. I'm going to share. I'm going to share this, and this guy is a great follow, by the way. Heinrich Leopold, at Leopold Heinrich, and he's pointing to, and we covered this. Matt, I don't know, when did we cover this? 2 weeks ago, when Bloomberg came out with the article that it had been so mild in Europe and that natural gas demand was going to be way off because how mild of a winter was shaping up because of the current temperature on the ground in Europe. Right. I mean, you can't think of a more ridiculous thought process than Bloomberg shared. Anyway, this guy is talking about natural gas demand, electricity prices around Europe through the roof. And then he keeps pointing to this polar vortex. Stratospheric polar vortex swallows vast amounts of warm air, pumping Arctic up to large amounts of frigid air, yada, yada, yada. Basically, he's saying by mid-December, it's going to be, there's a lot of cold euphemisms, right, Matt? It's going to be cold, and it's going to collapse into Europe and into North America. The East Coast, get ready. If you live on the East Coast, you best be getting ready. You should maybe buy another a dose of your fuel oil, and we want to jump into natural gas. We've been covering it and talking about the rally, and also crude oil, because there's a lot of crude that gets used for home heating. And Matt, there was another one that I don't see here that I wanted to share. That here it is. This is the largest amount of snow covered in the northern hemisphere, largest ever since they started taking records of this, which was only in 1967, which is amazing to me. That's the farthest back that they have records on snow coverage. But there's a lot of snow already covering the northern hemisphere, and there is a lot of cold in that vortex, and it is ready to be unleashed in the northern hemisphere. So trading opportunities abound, Matt. So let's take away. We've been talking crude and natty gas, and both of them. Crude
let me bring up
crude in particular seems to me. Put him on your lap.
Yeah, right.
Come on, put him on your lap. Let everybody see. Yeah, here it is. This is one animal that is not going to be cold. All right, Bo will not be cold. He has already got a full wool coat on.
The double wool coat.
Yeah, I mean, for me, crude looks like it's just in a great buy zone here. And when this polar is here's the thing. It's not about if it's going to collapse. The polar vortex is going to collapse. That's what they do. They build and then they collapse.
Yeah.
And when it collapses, it's got such a massive amount of cold air. You're going to need to turn up the thermostat.
Yeah. Again, I think we might have found the low there in the 7350s last night, which was just a continuation of this move from November 7th when we traded all the way up there to 94 almost. And now we're all the way back down to we got down to 73 and a half, and now we've just rocket shipped, and we're back into a key node here at 7770. So it's going to have some work to get back up into that 81 area. But yeah, I think these big candles here.
Nothing like a 50-pound puppy.
Yeah, nothing like it.
All right, fractal out a little bit because first of all, it's got to recapture that ceiling. It has to recapture the ceiling.
You talking this? I'm going to go let him out.
Yeah. Go chain that dog up. All right, for God's sakes. You know what? I'm gonna bring it back to my chart since he's having such a hard time with the animal. We got animals, Ventura. So let me share that. Get rid of him. He gone. Yeah, that's what I want to do. All right, share. Yeah, get rid of him. Yes. All right, this is crude it's on a 3-day. And if I'm being honest, it's still showing lower momentum with slope on the 3-day. I just think that the fundamental story coming in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we got the non-farm today on Friday, so we got December coming in this month. We got a monthly roll, and the story by the second week of December, which is by his modeling, Leopold's modeling, is that it's going to get really cold, and demand is going to go through the roof for heating oil and for nat gas. So this chart right now is still bearish on the 3-day look, but the longer this thing cannot maintain and close below these levels here that they put in, for me, that's kind of like what's happening here. It's building a bottom here. And as long as it stays above 70, let's call it these lows, 76, 75, which it is now, it's a full buck above there, 77.63 last in crude. That's a decent double bottom. And not only is it double bottom, you had these 2 days here, you had this day here last week. And then you retested it last night, and all 3 times it's been rejected soundly. So Matt, bring it up on the profile and let's talk crude on the profile.
Yeah, I started with it, but we'll go again. This is a 610 chart. You wanted a little longer look. So again, we peaked here at 131 back in March on the start of the Ukrainian conflict. So we're back now down to here 77.60. And again, the longer you look at this, you can just see this, this was the high back in October of last year when we ran all the way up here, and 85 was that high. So you can see 85 is actually the point of control really right now. So now we need to recapture that again, but we're still, as you said, in the lower end of this value zone when you go back to the COVID low. So we're just using that as a reference. And that's not the COVID low, but that was the December 21 low, excuse me. So again, you start to see this, and you basically see, and this was that area. For me, we still could trade down to 70 and I'd still be bullish. For me,
and you know what? And maybe that happens as we go forward here. Maybe it's 3 weeks. Yeah. There's a lot of time involved here in this modeling, especially when it's weather related, right? And when you add leverage to the situation, I could see that. People are like, oh my God, it is going to get cold. And they pile into it, but the timing and the leverage involved makes it so it's not necessarily going to be that easy. Maybe there's another washout to $70, just like you pointing out here on that longer term profile.
Yeah, and let's take a look at natural gas the last couple of days. Again, we had a dip on Friday that if you were paying attention at that close Friday, you could have picked some up there and in that 680 level, which was a nice profile level for the week. And sure enough, today it's back up again. It's back up 722 right now. It's been as high as 737. So again, this is putting in more time and at higher prices here, which starts to show itself in the longer time frames also that we've been discussing. 470, 570, now you could say almost 680. It's like $1. These dollar lows are being formed here, and kind of inching higher as we do that. We were almost up to the 8 level earlier last week, and then we said take some profits. So they took some profits, they washed them out, and now again it's going back up. But next level, it's got to hit. It's got to hit, get to $8 next to really kind of be off to the races, I would say.
Oh yeah, I mean it's fully parabolic on the daily look. The 3-day is just rounded and kicked that potential on the upside. The weekly still has some bearish tones to it, but and let me show that, because as you fractal out, it's a really good exercise to see how that works itself out. And as I said, the weekly, you're still fighting the momentum on the standard deviation modeling. This is the weekly. But when you fractal into the daily, that argument's already been had and won by the bullish side. All right. Upward sloping potentials. You talked about $8. In the next couple of days, this band is going to get up to that $8 area for sure. And then that 3-day look, kind of that tweener, it is fine. It has spent enough time here making higher highs, and we fully cooked. It's going to be cooked. We fully have got these bands rounded and upward potential available. You factor it all in, Matt. Again, I just think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and that's what he's been pointing out. Again, Heinrich Leopold, a great follow for your Arctic exploration needs. He's got some great information and great maps to share. Anyway, that's what we got. What else you got? What else you thinking?
Well, let's do a little recap. College football. Like we said, we talked a little bit about the Michigan game, but I had 11 games on the board and I was 6-5.
You did.
Yeah, 6-5. And it was interesting. Like I was telling you, like mostly, I picked a lot of like Georgia Tech covered, South Carolina upset. They were getting 14.5. So both those covered. Michigan was getting, 8.5, 8 points, whatever you can get there. They won outright. And Oregon State, what a game. I mean, they came back 28 points in the fourth quarter and just waxed the Quack. So that was fun to see also. And then Penn State, of course, took care of little brother, Michigan State. They're horrible, not going to a bowl game. He should be fired for that year. Like they should just pay him and move on from the Mel Tucker show, because he leads with nothing but those lower end of that emotional IQ chart. Notre Dame could not do it against USC, and then again Mississippi blew it at home. UNC blew it to NC State. Arkansas got waxed by Mizzou. I was way off there, and UCLA they won by 7, but they didn't cover the 9.5 against Cal. So tough week, but that's rivalry week. I'm happy with the 6-5, and again, money line on Michigan is really all you needed. That's all you needed for the rest of the week.
And let's give a
How about the Lions though, also covering against the Bills and really shouldn't have lost that game.
The Lions Jim
Nance,
heartbreaking.
Jim Nance with I'm going to jinx you with you haven't missed a field goal call.
All right, let's call it out right now. If you have a dad, an uncle, a mom that loves to grill or cook, it doesn't matter. If you do not consider buying somebody a Blackstone flat top grill, I am telling you right now. Matt, I told the story when I got the food truck, and I did a food truck for a couple of years. The guy said, "Hey, I'll throw in the Blackstone Jumbo," when I was buying the food truck, because it was gutted and it really needed to be rebuilt. And he's like, "It's sitting there, you can have it." And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to use a flat top. I'm going to grill everything. And he's like, trust me, you're going to want to at least put it in and play with it. I got to tell you that Blackstone grill, I mean, I redid the words for the Rifleman's Creed to the Griddle Man's Creed because it is so awesome. The grill, I think I used for 2 weekends, the actual gas-fired grill, barbecue style grill in the food truck. After that, it was all flat top all the time. And, pre-gaming for the Michigan game, I mean, you can do eggs and bacon, and you can make wraps, you can do smash burgers, you can do so much with the thing. It's like, it's better, honest to God, if you said, listen, you can only have one. You can have a Blackstone, or you can have a smoker, or you can have a barbecue grill, or you can have a Weber kettle. If you can only have one, what are you going to have? It's like hands down, I'll have the Blackstone flat top griddle.
Yeah. I mean, again, I used one this summer for the first time, and I told my kids holidays were coming, get me one, and they ended up getting it for my birthday. So it was great. And, we used it. We had the inaugural breakfast session.
Yeah, we burned it in. We had a nice burn in.
Don't forget to cure your Blackstone.
I will say this. The only thing that I don't like about it is there's no capacity really for a fire. And I really enjoy that metric. Like, if you don't have a 5-alarm fire at one point during the grill or the cookout, you're doing things wrong. Like everybody's got to run. Somebody needs to find something to don't put water on it, for God's sakes. There's really not that threat of a massive fire that you have to extinguish while you're enjoying the cook. Right. I don't know. It's just some of the things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the other thing it doesn't have like a cooling rack that you can put something a little bit above the flame, right? That would be nice to have something like that too. But
you can work that. I actually did that. You got to have some separate containers, and then you actually have to put some sort of something to raise it off that griddle that you can add to, for sure. Like you start. Not only that, you have a percussion surface, right? So you can start, playing the congas on the flat top, which is a great fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what we got.
Monday night tonight, who do we have? We have
Lee. Come on, Lee.
We got Pittsburgh and Indy. Is that who's playing tonight? Another really no one cares game. Or was that last night? I don't remember. I was like you said, once the college season kind of starts winding down, I kind of fade from the pro game too. It's even though I guess we're getting 6-7 weeks from the playoffs there, but we still have a couple months of games left. This market is really choppy. It's holiday trading again today. There's not a lot of trends. We've been selling. We were selling off Sunday. We're continuing to sell off. We're basically at the lows of the day. SPOOs are at 39.85. Down 47, just giving back, the little gains they had at the end of last week. So that's again kind of how I expected it. World Cup continues. I'm not following it, so you'll have to keep me up with that.
Yeah, I've not watched. I take that back. I watched maybe 5 minutes of their first game. The US's first game.
I saw the last 7 of the Kiss Your Sister 0-0 game. Again, why do we have ties? I thought you were trying to figure out somebody wins.
Yeah. Anywho. All right, that's what we got. Please visit marketvitals.io.
Apparently, Jay Leno went back to the office to do a show today and hit a police car on the way in. So and he jokes about being a roast comic and his return to stage after the fire. It's pretty surprising that he's back. Gosh, he got burned pretty bad. He had some pretty severe burns, but so anyways, he hit a police car going in today with his Tesla. So watch out, Jay Leno. Maybe you're getting a little old, dude. Maybe you better wrap it up.
Right on. All right, Matt. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Mark. Please join us again tomorrow for another segment. Marketvitals.io. Come to our community, marketvitals.io. That's it. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Bob.